Hey ladies, it's Dawn. I've just come on quickly to share our Christmas tree with you for Amanda's Scrimping Mummies. I remembered what it was called before. One sec. I've not been on the sherry, honestly. Christmas Tree Vlog Hop. That's it, isn't it? Christmas Tree Vlog Hop. Yeah. I just thought I'd come on quickly and do a quick video. I like to have a traditional Christmas tree with many different colours on it, different baubles and sentimental things on it as well from years gone by, things that my now grown up children made me when they were little. And then some of my mum's decorations as well, and also our fairy kind of move closer on the top of our tree. I don't know if I can zoom in on her very well. I've actually made her a new dress last weekend and new wings, but she is nearly 60 years old. She's the fairy on our Christmas tree. When I was a little girl, I was very blessed at Christmas when I was little and growing up with my mum and dad. They used to make Christmas Eve very magical for me, as I was the youngest of three. And I have many memories, many happy memories of Christmases past. But then sadly, our loved ones leave this world and move on to the higher side of life, and that affects a lot of us in different ways, especially at Christmas time. My Christmases, although sort of once very happy, are tinged with a fair amount of sadness now. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I get so emotional. I think it's because I used to be a mermaid, my eyes are forever leaking. But if you don't mind, I would like to share something with you. And it's very true, it's something that happened a number of years ago. I could write a book on things that have happened at Christmas time and other times during the year as well. But this one in particular, I'm hoping that maybe, you know, someone may watch this and it may bring them a little bit of comfort at this time of year. What it is my dad passed away when I was 11. He passed away 8 days before my birthday. It was on the 12th of February 1975. And he passed away at home, and I tried to help and there was nothing I could do. Apart from run round and get my brother. But sadly, there was nothing he could do for Dad. He'd been very poorly, he'd had a number of heart attacks, and the final one, obviously, was the one that took him home. Anyway, it was quite difficult growing up. Without my dad there, I was the apple of his eye and I was very spoilt. And to be honest, I led my mum a real merry dance. I was dreadful, absolutely dreadful, up to the age of about 16 when I left school and started working. And then I began to realise just how much my mum meant to me and how much she'd done for me over the years. And then obviously time went on and I met my partner and, you know, we had our own children, Nicola, who's now 32, and Daniel, who's now 28. But it was one particular Christmas. Every year at Christmas, my mum used to come and stay with us. She used to stay Christmas Eve and be with the children before Santa came. And then, obviously, she'd be there Christmas morning and Christmas Day, and she'd have dinner with us. She'd always wash all the dishes, bless her. And then she used to go home. And then we'd see her again Boxing Day. She only lived over the road. But anyway, this particular day I'd been working. I used to have quite a good job with social services as a home help. And I'd been doing Christmas shopping for a number of my clients, and it had been a really, really busy week. And I got home and my mum was there at my house waiting for me. And I said, come on, we'll have a quick brew, Mum, and then we'll get off to Sainsbury's to do the shopping. And it had been a strange week as well, because even though we'd been very busy, I was finding myself really, really emotional. And I was really missing my dad. And he'd been in spirit for many, many years. And we had a brew, and then we got in the car and I started to drive my mum and I up to Sainsbury's for our Christmas shopping. And I'm chatting away, and I just started to mention my dad, and I got all upset again and started to cry. And my mum said, "Oh, Dawn, she said, things should be getting easier for you now." I said, "They are, Mum. They're a lot easier. It's just, I just miss my dad, So we goes into Sainsbury's, doing our shopping. And our trolleys were loaded with all our Christmas food and all the special treats and things that you get at that time of year. And the queues were even as they normally are. And I'm thinking, my legs are killing me, my feet are hurting. I can't wait to get home and get a brew and blah, blah. And we're at the checkout, and it came to my turn, and I'd piled all the shopping on. And as I got to the bottom of the checkout, there was a Father Christmas there, like how the stores have a Father Christmas in. And he smiled at me and I smiled at him. But I kept going really, really goosey. Excuse our little Archie barking there. Archie, hush, please. I kept going really, really goosey. And he carried on smiling at me, this Father Christmas. And I'm thinking to myself, God, I know him. Where do I know him from? From the eyes up. Anyway, as I got my purse out and everything, he put his hand on my arm, and I looked down and saw his beautiful white glove, and I noticed how expensive looking his suit was and the gold buttons on it. And he said to me, "Do you know who I am?" And as I looked up to answer him, again I thought, I know him from somewhere. Where do I know him from? And I realised that his beard wasn't a stick-on beard. I could actually see where the whiskers were growing out of his skin on his face. And he'd said to me, "Do you know who I am?" And I said, "Yeah," like a big kid. "You're Father Christmas." And he said, "Ho, ho, ho, Merry Christmas." And I said, "Merry Christmas" back, bless him. And he had this beautiful gold bell. So I got all my shopping bagged up, and he stood there. And my mum's shopping started to come down, and my mum came, and stood with me. And he did the same to my mum. And then, after my mum had said Merry Christmas and everything, he rang his bell, which I think I've said was beautiful. And he said, "Ho, ho, ho, Merry Christmas to you both." And off he went. And I'm saying to my mum, "Oh, he's lovely. It's lovely when they do that, isn't it? Blah, 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 and everything." And, getting all the bags in the trolley. And I'd become quite emotional because he was really an amazing Father Christmas. And the lady on the checkout said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Sorry." I said, "It's me. I'm just being daft." I said, "That Father Christmas was amazing." So she smiled. She said, "Oh, yeah, he's been in since yesterday. He came in store yesterday," and pointed to this man who was tall and slim, and he had a red coat on and a cotton wool beard. And I said, "No, not that Father Christmas, that one." And as I pointed, there was nobody there, and she looked at me. I said, "Have you had 2 Father Christmases in store?" And she said, "No, just him, love." And I looked, and I was absolutely goosey from head to toe. And me and my mum's chatting about it, going to the car, and we gets all the shopping in the car, and I goes for petrol and gets me petrol, and I'm thinking about this Father Christmas and how beautiful his suit was, and how beautiful his gold buttons were, and how the whiskers were growing out of his face. But it was niggling me because I knew him from somewhere. Anyway, pays for my petrol, gets in the car, starts driving home, and suddenly it hit me. And I said to my mum, "Mum, what date is it?" She said, today? She said, it's the 23rd of December. I said, oh my God. She said, what? I said, my dad's been in spirit 23 years, Mum. She said, yes, I know. I said, Mum, that Father Christmas was my dad. And she looked, she said, I knew him from somewhere. And it was my dad. And there'll be people out there who won't believe me. But as true as I'm standing here now, that was my dad. And I felt his body as he touched my arm and said, do you know who I am? And as I say, I knew, you know, from his nose upwards, because obviously I couldn't see his mouth because of his beard and moustache. And I knew that the Father Christmas that came to us that day was actually my dad. And, you know, we ended up having an absolutely amazing Christmas that year. And we could feel my dad's spirit ever so strong. And even the children were both overwhelmed on Christmas Day morning when they started to open the gifts, because my children have always been told that they who believe always get more. And you may think I'm crackers, and you may think I've lost... Well, I have lost the plot. I lost it a long time ago. I don't mind admitting that. But I was chosen to work with Spirit many, many years ago, probably before I ever came here. And from a very early age, I have been aware of Spirit. And I'm blessed to have been shown and to have been taken to some amazing places on the higher side of life. And ladies, I could tell you so many different things that I've experienced with Spirit, different things that they've shown me, other things that have happened to me or members of my family, always at Christmas time, and it's to help us. And I used to be one of these people. I didn't want to put a Christmas tree up, especially after my mum passed in the October. I didn't want to put a tree up, and I didn't want to do this and I didn't want to do that, but I knew I had to. I knew I had to, because my mum used to say to me, why change now? We used to have good times at Christmas, you know, why do you want to not do it now? And it's true, we have to carry it on. No matter how hard it is, never ever feel alone, because your loved ones who have gone home to the higher side of life are always there. They're only ever a whisper away. And I say this from the bottom of my heart, if I can help anybody at all that needs any help, you know, about a loved one who's gone home to the higher side of life, then don't hesitate to ask, because that's what I was sent here for. I was sent here to help. So with that, ladies, I'll leave you with the image of our Christmas tree, and also just quickly show you our little garland with my mum's vintage clock that says, well, I don't think you can see it, but it says 5:25. It's actually about 6:30. There's no time in my world. My mum left this world at 5:25, and that's what the clocks that we have are all set at. And there's our window with the Christmas garland and the wreath that I made. And there's our Archie. And I could say to you, there's my mum on a picture there with the cross stitch that I did the year before she passed, that I didn't understand until after she'd passed. But really, my mum's there. That's where my mum is, as always, sat on the sofa. So with that, ladies, I'll leave you with lots of love and hugs. And thanks, Manda. Thanks, Manda, love, for letting me take part in your Christmas tree vlog hop. Remembered it. Okay, ladies, take care now. Bye-bye. God bless.